Got about 30 seconds to go. We are backstage right now. We are about to start AbilityMKE Now. And there we go. We got the sound set. 20 seconds to spare. We're in good shape. We're about ready to begin. I'm excited. You guys are going to be having a fun night. I love it. Or I should say, I'm going to be having a fun night because, we got a great crowd here. All right. Welcome to AbilityMKE Now. My name is Sue Roskopf, and here at AbilityMKE Now, we are dedicated to inclusion, connection, community, bringing people together, and being relevant to everybody. That is what we do here, bringing people with disabilities and people that don't have a disability together, enjoying life here in the Milwaukee area. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own, with people we know, or with people we encounter in our everyday lives. We all have different and unique abilities, and that is what we celebrate. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we celebrate the ability in all of us. And joining us today is my amazing co-host, Michael Martin Humel. Michael is a writer, speaker, and podcaster who works to bridge the gap between disabled and able-bodied people, and I am so glad to have you here. How are you, Michael?
I'm very good, thank you. It's good to see you. How are you?
Doing great, and I'm
Good.
excited for tonight. We've got quite the lineup in store, so I think we'll go ahead and dive right in. First up, we have Melissa Yaklyvich joining us. And Melissa, I am so excited. I've heard bits and pieces so far of getting a sneak preview, but I wonder if you want to come on in and tell us a bit about who you are and what you all do. Welcome.
Welcome, and thank you very much for having me. And you know what? I like to see myself and say that I am a legacy specialist and a financial educator. We actually help to serve individuals and businesses by eliminating market risk and fees and taxes. Who doesn't want to save on those, right? And we help to take the money where they have it, and we like to place it into a better parking space, so to speak. We also help to rescue people's savings in retirement from the same thing, the taxes and the fees and the market risk. And we like to do this by showing them how they can actually create a better retirement for themselves. And, like I always like to say, the number one fear is not actually public speaking or death. It's actually running out of money during retirement. So this is actually a quote by Allianz. And it's actually known to say that 64% of Americans said that they're worried about running out of money during their retirement. And that's their biggest fear. And that's what we're trying to educate America on.
Excellent. Yeah, that hits home for each and every one of us because we all have to maintain our lifestyle, whatever that means to each of us. We all have to maintain what we have, and we don't always all get the same background and education in the whole finance world. It's like the money game. How does the money game work? And game's not necessarily the right word, but if you don't know the rules, you're gonna
It is the game, and I like to tell people if you don't hate the player, hate the game. Learn how to play the game, then you will never hate it at all. You will learn to love playing it.
Excellent. Well, and I know you do a lot to help families along the way. What is it that inspired you to help families in the first place?
Well, I came from a backdrop where my grandparents' future and my grandparents' retirement was based on Chevron stock. And that actually didn't last my grandmother at all. She ended up living on Social Security and ended up passing away in death with nothing to her name. And this really made me sad because this was one of my idols and I loved her to pieces. She was one of my best friends. And I just saw that this was an ongoing event throughout a lot of people that I met up with in my life. I've had another girlfriend, she just lost her husband. Nothing put in place. And a couple weeks before he passed away, he said, well, if this thing works out with my mom and what Melissa set up for her, then I'll go ahead and do it. And 2 weeks later, he was gone. So, the availability and the education for how we need to protect our families is really surreal. And the education that is lacking in our schools, I want to make sure that we get that out there to every school in America, because I'd rather have them have it sooner than later.
Oh, and that makes so much sense to me. I absolutely appreciate that statement that you just said, because I know even in our local school district here, they added I think it's called a personal finance course. I don't know if I have the exact title correct, but in the grade after my daughter, now they are making it a required course that to graduate, you need to take this basic financial
Yes.
course, which like that is brilliant. They need that, and for it to be, I hope I hope I have not actually. She's not taken it yet, but I know she plans to, even though it's still optional for her grade. I am so excited to see what they all cover because that truly is as practical as it gets.
Yes. Yes, and I'm hoping, if anything, those questions don't get answered there, you know, we can always talk about it too. And she can ask me or you can ask me. I'm open to talking to the communities about it. It's important that we discuss what's going on because our taxes are going up and we're having to pay more and more. I'm from California. I can honestly tell you tax rates here are astronomical.
Yeah, the more we can keep in our own pockets, that makes all the difference, right? We
Uncle
earn the
Sam is not my
money.
best friend.
It's understanding the rules to the game. That understand what do we need to do to keep things in our own favor. What you don't know can hurt you. You need to know how to approach things to make it be to as advantageous as possible to ourselves and our families.
Correct.
So, and I do have one more quick question before we bring in our next guest. I want to know if you can share a bit about, there's a big misconception out there about saving money. You want to talk to that a little bit and how the misconception of how savings looks, how that can impact us?
So one of the problems that we see with savings is everybody seems to think that it's going to cost a lot of money and that it's really captured in. And here's the thing, it's not locked in, you guys. Financing and learning how to save and learning how to budget, if we actually learn how to do that, we're actually going to capture a lot more freedom. We're going to be able to take that money and we're going to be able to build a better future with it, and we're not so scared of stepping outside the box. It is all about the creativity and the things that we are able to do and give back to other people with the money that we create, right? So, through the savings and through learning how to value our money and knowing that it is a piece of paper that is for change, and this is a huge step in mindset, and it will actually help to change your wealth set mindset to become a little bit more prosperous in the future for yourselves so that you can do better for your family.
Love it. Oh, and this truly kind of segues right into our next guest that is joining us. We have Missie Newman with Coyote Bookkeeping joining us as well. And I'm wanting you to come on in, first of all, if you want to tell us a little bit more about who you are and what it is that you all do. I know with both of you in the financial arena, I'm looking forward to the conversation. But Missy, so glad you're here.
Thank you. So, Melissa, I love what you do. That's amazing. I am a firm believer in teaching kids from high school, junior high on about the importance of how to deal with money. So that's awesome. Um, so I have I say small bookkeeping company. It's me, and I just do. I have been bookkeeping for over 20 years, on and off. When we needed money, I would pick up a few clients, and then when we were doing okay, I didn't have to, usually around tax time and stuff. And I worked for the federal government and I was getting ready to retire. And I told my husband, I said, I think I want to do bookkeeping again. And come to find out, it's not ledgers and spreadsheets anymore. I had to learn how to operate programs and applications. And I probably had an advantage over a lot of the students in that I didn't have to learn how to be a bookkeeper and how to use the programs. All I had to do is learn how to use the programs. So that worked out really well, and I dabbled in it and networked and did what I could do until September 30th when I retired, and October 1st I hit the ground running. So, and then about the middle of October, the and I don't know if I'm allowed to mention the bookkeeping service I use for the most part, but they completely reformatted everything. So I basically knew how to do it until they reformatted everything.
And then you change
So
the program. It makes it a whole new ballgame again.
yes, but the advantage is nobody knew how to use it, so it's kind of an even playing field at that point. But yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I have always been kind of a numbers nerd. I was the kid in chess club and science club because I just didn't really fit into everything. And so bookkeeping was a very natural progression for me. When I went to college, I went as an older student. I was in my 30s when I started college, and they were just starting this thing. Your electives have to be X in your career field or in your major, or you have to take gym class. And I'm like, I am not taking gym class with 20-year-olds. So since my major is business administration, I took every accounting class available just to keep from having to take gym classes.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah. So, but that's how I got into it. And just a little backstory. I'm a Navy veteran, and I learned about service and taking care of your fellow persons in that. And I have carried that over. That's become my mantra: service first. Uh, when I take care of my clients. I have clients who barely have two nickels to rub together. So I'm like, when you become wealthy, you're going to pay me. But until then, I'm going to help you until that time comes. So, and I got the name Coyote. I hope I'm not talking too much, but I got the
You're
name
good.
Coyote. Okay. I got the name Coyote. I'm Cherokee. You can tell by the blonde hair. My grandmother looks very Cherokee, and she used to tell us tribal stories about
Oh,
coyotes and how they are devoted. They're they're kind of cunning and they have fun, but they are team players or they can work alone. And they don't, they're devoted to they're loyal to their tribe. And I kind of like those qualities. And so when I came up with the name, that's what I came up with was Coyote.
I like that so much. That I love it when there's meaning like that behind what you've created here, and that actually speaks volumes to what you do and where you come from and what your mission all is involving here. So I appreciate you sharing all that. That's beautiful.
I
So
thought it would kind of be a nice way to honor my grandmother.
yeah, ah, that whole thing with legacy and how family makes a difference in our world.
Mhm.
I love it. So, and with what you do, what's your favorite aspect of what you do?
So, so many people, they get into business, they have this dream, they want to uh, they open a shop and they cut hair, or they open a shop and they started out as a shade tree mechanic and now they create the fastest engines out there, whatever. And that's their dream, and that's their passion. And then they're spending 3 to 5 hours a week trying to keep up with the books. They just dread that time. And when I come in and say, how much is your time worth an hour? And if you had those 3 to 5 hours back, how much more money would you make? And they realize they can afford me, and I can take that burden off their shoulders. And invariably, the first month or two, they're like, okay, I've got to see everything. I've got to see, they're real nervous about it. But when I realize I am making their lives less stressful, and I'm making a difference, I'm helping, and that's what I care about most, then they trust me. And when I've got this one lady who she opened a shop that was her mother's dream, and where she sells upscale resale clothing. She just started. And that's my two nickels she don't have to rub together story. And I have been helping her with her program and just getting started and showing her the advantages. I mean, a profit and loss report is worth its weight in gold. Remembering to follow up on invoices. If you are 3 months without getting paid when you are barely getting by, that's huge. So it's great to be able to help people get this stuff in order. And she promises, she says, as soon as I make my first million, I said, don't wait that long. She says, as soon as I start turning a profit, I'm going to pay you. I said, I'm not worried about that. I have other paying clients. My goal is to make sure people can make it. I'm a big supporter of community and small business. People don't realize that 99.9% of US companies is small to medium sized business. And um, we generate 43% of the total GDP. I mean, that to me is huge when you're comparing it to, the Walmarts and the Costco's or whatever. We are making a difference, and we hire 46% of the uh, private workforce. I mean, that to me, we are a strong factor. And if we stick together and help each other out, then we can make a better, I know it sounds corny, I'm not running for Miss America, but we can make a better world, a better place for our kids to grow up.
Oh, I love it. You, Missy and Melissa, both of you, I hear that same piece coming from both of you about how we can make things better for others around us and to educate and to be in that role of being able to truly help people, educate them so that they can take care of themselves along the way and do things the way that's going to be most beneficial for them. I was going to say the right way, but the right way for one person is not necessarily going to be the right way for the next person because they're different situations. And to have folks like you that they can lean on really makes a difference because when you don't know, you don't know, so I love that. Now, Melissa, do you want to come on back in here? And I know I want to know from you too. Really, what is your favorite part of what it is that you do as you go about your day to day?
I think as I go through my day to day, I'm enjoying so much getting to know people's stories and where they're from and how I can make their life better. How I can take a little bit of stress and a little bit of anxiety off of their plate because there's so much of it out there. If I can alleviate just a little bit of that, then and I can put a smile on their face. It's made for a great day.
Excellent. I love that. All the caring, all the community that I hear within this group is amazing. And I do have one more friend that is joining us as well. The one and only Deby Miller is in the house with us. I want to go ahead and bring her in so that she can say hello and remind everybody who you are, what y'all do. And I think with what you do, it really fits nicely in with this conversation we're having. So Deby, so glad you're here.
Thank you. Yeah, it sounds like a great collaboration thing. I'm Deby Miller with Prepaid Legal Services, Inc., which is Legal Shield and ID Shield. So, helping families and small businesses have affordable access to law firms in their area. So, one of the things that I love about Legal Shield is that for your monthly fee, you actually can have your wills written at no extra cost. It's a simple thank you for being our member. And next year, should you have things change, whether it's you move to a different state or you had another baby or whatever changes you might have had, you can update your will or at least have it reviewed to make sure that it's still currently correct for the where you're at. And for the small businesses, as Missy was mentioning, it's the major part of our world here in North America, and we need to be able to make better choices, better decisions, and having attorneys that you can call and get advice for those decisions really makes all the difference in the world. I mean, even as a mom, you know, just picking up the phone and talking to somebody else with that actually knows what the laws are. Because I tell you, I mean, as a mom, I have my opinion, and unfortunately, it doesn't always agree with the law. And I love that our attorneys often tell you that there is nothing logical about the laws in any state. It's just the law. And so, you got to know what that is, and then kind of balance it out with what your mom logic says. Um, but being able to call an attorney without worrying about the thousands of dollars that it could cost, it's going to cost, it's going to cost. Just being able to say, hey, um, I need to talk to somebody, and I need to talk to somebody that knows what they're talking about, because we can always come up with a lot of people who have an opinion as well as mom. And so that's kind of my thing too. I do a lot of educating people because I didn't grow up actually dealing with attorneys. I mean, I do know that there was an attorney's child in my high school. He was not in the same, well, he wasn't in the same class as I was. So therefore, I didn't really know him well. But it's not like, especially unless you're in a really small community, you probably didn't rub shoulders with the lawyer in your town. And maybe even if you did, you didn't, or even if you could have, you didn't. So just being able to contact our attorneys. I love that our attorneys, when we meet them in person, it's like, wow, you're just like my neighbor. I mean, you could be my neighbor. It's not like you're someplace in a big high rise kind of home and not touchable. You actually want to hear what I have to say, what I need to know. And I love that we take care of our attorneys really well, so they don't have to worry about, you know, I can, if I talk, make you talk longer, I can make more money for my company and for myself. Because of how well we take care of them, they just want to take care of us. They're paid well, and that's great, because obviously they've spent a lot of money to get where they're at, but they're here to help us take care of our families and be just doing it right, having our lives right, taking care of our family, taking care of our business, and being able to just live our life. So I love being able to help get that message out. Thanks,
That's
Sue.
huge. That's with what all three of you are talking about. I hear consistently here to be able to have people that we can go to, because no matter what we do in life, we can't possibly know all the things. We need to have reliable resources so that we know we're getting good information. We know where to go when we have questions to ask. And that's where all three of you have a different aspect of things that really apply to all of us. We all deal with money, finances, keeping track of all the things. We all have legal things to deal with. And that really is the more you know and the more you have at your fingertips for those trusted resources makes all the difference. I absolutely love what you guys are all bringing forward here today. And Michael, I want to go ahead and see, did you have any pieces you want to add in here too?
I had one question for Melissa. Sorry. When you hear about the people not being able to save, and like, what would you suggest as far as like the slow build? Because I think people try to go too fast, and they overwhelm themselves.
Yeah, so I'd say the first step is always just start saving. We always encourage our clients to save at least 10% of their paychecks. The younger, of course, obviously, the better. The older, obviously, the more that we need to save. But if you haven't started saving and you have very little, then you just start setting a little bit aside at a time. You start creating a budget and you start creating that atmosphere so that you can learn how to save. It is about learning how to save. It's about developing a new muscle that you probably haven't learned how to use it for a long time. Ask my 19-year-old. He spends money like it's water. So, and
I
it's
used
my
to do
money
that.
that he likes to spend. So,
But like, what would you how would you are what are the differences between learning how to save and not knowing anything?
So I would say the difference between knowing how to save and learning how to save is just put them in high yielding savings accounts. Those you can find anywhere.
Okay.
And knowing how to save, yeah, our parents have always told us to save money. They just never really told us or gave us a percentage on how much to save. But the golden rule is always 10%, always
Okay.
10%.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
I'm thinking even throwing that whole part in of making it not optional for yourself. You know, if you because
Yes.
as soon as you start going down that path of, oh, but well, just for this month, I know
Yeah.
we need this thing, you know.
Yeah, and it becomes creating an emergency fund. So we always tell our clients they have three buckets. So we try to tell them there's the emergency bucket because you never know what's going to happen. Expenses are going in and out. You know, this account's never going to ever accelerate to the amount that you actually need in it because there's always an emergency. There's always a birthday party, there's a flat tire, there's car maintenance, whatever the case may be. So for us, it is making sure that we create that bucket. We have our fun bucket because without fun, life is a little boring, right? So we want to make sure that we're saving there. And we're also making sure at the same time, we're also saving for our retirement. So for those people that are just starting to save, it's getting that emergency fund going and creating a savings just for the what ifs.
That is so important. Oh my goodness. So, and Missy, with what you all do, and what kind of advice, maybe, or words of wisdom would you have for folks if they are struggling to keep track of all that? And because I know with your bookkeeping, a lot is with businesses. Do you do much with on a family level as well, or not necessarily?
No, I don't do it with families. I mean, I can certainly help them set up a spreadsheet and learn where their money's going. I mean, spreadsheet's a fancy way of saying like a check register. Remember those?
Oh yeah.
And but it tells you where your money's going, and the 10% is an awesome amount to start with. I always put aside uh 10% and then whatever pay raise I got, I just automatically threw that in there so that I was living off the same amount. And then about every 3 or 4 years, I'd have to start taking some of that pay raise because the economy goes up.
Mhm.
But I guess the best advice I could give is don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you can't find a bookkeeper who will give you a free consultation, keep looking because there's a lot of us out there. I will give a free consultation, multiple of them if need be, just to help you figure out what you need to do and where you need to go.
Excellent. I love that. Because again, people don't know what they don't know. And if you're really starting from a place of just all question marks, having somebody you can trust who's not going to be dishonest along the way, you know, because you got to look out for that too. Choose wisely. But really, having a starting place. And I think with what you guys all been talking about today, that very much gives people a starting place to know questions to ask and things to look for. So, actually, Melissa, I'll give you a final thought here. If you want to have any take-home message for folks.
So I would say just if you don't have anything put in place, now's the time to start saving for yourselves. Now's the time to start creating a plan. Seek whoever is closest and nearest and dearest to you. Seek the right type of advice and the people that are really out there trying to help you. And make sure you get to your 10%. And there's the three rules of three goals, but that would be a lot more in-depth conversation to have. But just learn how to save and let's start creating a savings for America because we're in a lot of trouble if we don't start doing this.
Excellent. Well, thank you all so much for all of us here with